Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So it's Monday, which means it is time yet again for our viewer special. This is the weekly video series that we do every single Monday, where we take time out to celebrate you all, the viewers, in multiple ways actually. The main way, of course, is that we're going to see replays from you all. We're going to watch some of your cool duels with some cool decks and see how you've been tearing it up on Ranked Ladder there. And on top of that, we are running it back with the Plex Leaderboard Challenge, which is our weekly contest that we hold over on the Discord. If you're interested in that, here's a little blurb of how to get started there. To start, simply head down the description below. The top link there is going to be my affiliate link for the Untapped Companion. It is a free download, and using this link will definitely help support the channel as well. And then below that, you can see the Discord invite link that I'm highlighting right here. Once you're in the Discord, you're going to want to go down to the Master Duel section here, and there is an entire channel where at the bottom called Plex Leaderboard Challenge, where you can not only find the rules and guidelines pinned, but you can submit the link to your Untapped profile. Your Untapped profile will allow me to see your win rate for every game you've had the Untapped Companion open while you play Master Duel, as well as you yourself, of course. It will show you a lot of really interesting stats about your own games and the hundreds of thousands of games played in the meta overall. And the winner for this week for the Plex Leaderboard Challenge is going to be Kuro Aito, who has a win rate of 69.1, almost 70%. Climbing up to Master 5 there. That's really, really solid. Looks like with a variety of different decks here. A lot of DML star Snake Eye. Hell yeah, I'm totally down for that. You know, I love Snake Eye, but yeah, definitely a very, very good job, Kuro. So one other thing about the Plex Leaderboard Challenge is for the past little over a month now, I've been picking people who haven't won in the past in order to make sure that we're cycling in a lot of people to get in the prizing. However, starting in May, so starting next week, I am going to lift that restriction. So once again, anyone who's entered, even if you've already won before, is going to be eligible. So again, definitely go ahead and check out the Discord server in the description below if you are at all interested. Now, for the rest of the viewer special here, we are going to be taking a look at, of course, like I said, games from you all, the viewers. If you're interested in submitting those, you're actually also going to want to head down the description for the Discord server for that one as well. You might have seen in my little blurb about the Plex Leaderboard Challenge that there is also a channel for viewer special submissions. There you're going to want to leave your 9-digit player ID here. That's the main bit of info I'll need to see. Your publicly saved replays. Do make sure they are publicly saved. That way I'm able to view each of them and then feature them as well. If you've got multiple replays, that's totally cool. You can submit as many as you'd like, as many different ones as you'd like. Just please, I ask you, don't submit the same one over and over again. If you do have multiple replays saved, please also make sure to let me know your opponent's name and or the date and time, so I know exactly which game you want me to see there. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into these duels. Okay, so our first duel for this viewer special is going to come to us from Bruno AG5, who has some games here with Lyrilusk Snake Eye. So that's the good old-fashioned Bird Up deck, one of the first meta decks when Master Duel first came out, with the most recent meta deck mashed up there. Let's see, let's go ahead and take a look at this 5-turn game here, which, if I recall correctly, is going to be against Rescue Ace, I believe. I did go glance at this replay here for a moment, so taking a look at the list here, I'm interested to see what's all in the extra deck. So we have, obviously, a couple of the Lyrilusks. We got the F-Zero. Interesting. So we're not rocking a lot of the extended stuff, like the Link 3 Sid Morg, or like tri-brigade links, but we do have the ability to go into F-Zero on top of Snake Eye stuff. So we did get hit with a Maxi here, so we're going to use a couple of our search spells, including grabbing Poplar with the Bonfire, not specialing out off its own effect, just normally placing the Temple and then putting Ash in our spell trap zone. Which, yeah, you know, with Snake Eye, a lot of the time, this is what you end up having to do when you are under the Maxi there. So, speaking of Maxi, we're going to fire off one against our opponent here as well. They do chain the Emergency, however, so they will get at least one special summon dodging the C there. And yeah, I was going to say, it's only going to be one special summon they'll probably need here, which is the Turbulence. Alright, we're going to get to summon out the Snake Eye Ash, though, which is pretty good, because we can use it to add another copy of Snake Eye Ash and make sure we have plays for next turn. Our opponent here, also, of course, on a Snake Eye package, playing Rescue Ace, is going to Bonfire for the Poplar, and then use that to grab the original Sinful Spoils. So They are still under the maxi. They only dodged that one summon. We're looking pretty good in that regard. DD Crow could end up coming in handy here. Depends how hard into Snake Eye plays they go, but it doesn't look like, yeah, it's going to be too bad here as far as that goes. However, with the 4 face downs and Hydrant on the field, that is going to be a little bit rough. Not really sure why they summoned Turbulence in defense mode. They could have just put it in attack mode and then battled over our stuff here, but... Okay, so Chainlink 1 Airlifter, Chainlink 2 Alert. It's going to be 2 Rescue Ace monsters being added from the deck to the hand, one of which is going to be the Preventer, and then Airlifter... Oh, Airlifter grabs a spell, duh, not a monster, which will be another copy of the Emergency. Placing the Emergency face down, going to battle. The Airlifter is going to battle over the Ash, but again, we do get to keep the Poplar, because the Turbulence was summoned in defense mode. Granted, we would be able to put Poplar in the Spell Trap Zone pretty much either way, so... But of course, we do also like having it in the Monster Zone still. Gonna lead, of course, with that Snake Eye Ash we added, then going for the Poplar Special Summon. Poplar is gonna get linked off for the Link remote here. Of course, the opponent does have Hydrant in place, so we do have to keep in mind that all of the Rescue Ace spell and trap cards will have their bonus effects turned on. So, for example, the trap card that negates will also say that we can't use that card as a material. I believe this is the Destroy one, right? Hang on, actually, which one was that? Yeah, so the card that destroys also says you can't activate cards or effects of the monster with the same name this turn. That was actually very, very good to do on Flamberge. It means we not only get the 2 level... We don't get the 2 level 1s back, but also, you know, we won't be able to do it later in the turn or push a monster back later in the turn either. And then, yeah, the trap card that negates a monster effect also says that monster, yep, this one here, cannot be used as a material for a Fusion, Secret Link, or Xyz summon, so... We do get to dodge that, however, with the Link Revo, which is very, very nice. We get our summon, and we don't have a dead monster in play, because the trap card does target. So now their only remaining back rows are, yep, the Emergency as well as Rescue, which I believe will summon a monster out of either graveyard, because again, they do have the Hydrant in play. We're going to Ash Blossom the Emergency, so that'll stop a Preventer from coming down. Also, doesn't our opponent have a Preventer in hand? They definitely had the... No, it's in the yard. How did it get in the yard? I thought they had a Preventer. I don't know why they didn't summon it if they did, but... The Hita, we're going to actually bring back their Preventer, or try to. They're going to use the Rescue on that. Oh, maybe that's what they were going for, but yeah, we have the DD Crow! DD Crow, a pretty good tech card in this format, but also, you know, in Lyrilusk, it's a level 1 winged beast, so it actually does end up getting supported by the archetype, as well as, again, just being a good general card, so... Okay, now we get to pivot into the Promethean Princess here. Promethean Princess going to activate. Airlifter is going to chain its effect in response. Oh, and that's going to summon the Preventer from hand. That's... Okay, that's why we didn't summon it before. I don't know. I think I might have still tried to get it out a little bit sooner. Just to have it in play. I don't know. Oh, we get to steal their Poplar? That's brutal. And looks like we're just going for the Amble Whale here. Oh, and then going into Zealantis. Oh, and now it won't matter. Now it doesn't matter even if they do have Preventer because we have Zealantis. So that was definitely a huge pro of going for Zealantis here over Access Code. If we had tried to do an Access Code OTK, our Flamberge would have ended up face down. We would not have lethal. However, here, yep, we get to put the Preventer face down, as well as the Hydrant too. And then we get to use the Flamberge effect, or the Princess effect. I always call her Flamberge. To pop the Preventer and then summon her stuff. So this actually isn't an OTK. I misspoke. However, we do get to pop the Hydrant and the field spell before smacking into our opponent. If we had still had Flamberge in play, this would have been an OTK, but... Alright. Emergency is being activated here. Grabbing the trap card. Spell card, the original Sin is being used to get the search. Oh, for Jet Synchron though, that is not going to do it. It's not going to be nearly good enough. Okay, we already had a Hydrant in hand. That makes a little more sense, but then we get to summon our opponent's Turbulence to our field, which is pretty cute. They're grabbing a Turbulence of their own. I don't know, it's like, I think it's too late in the game for the set 4 off of Turbulence to, like, matter anymore, right? I mean, sure, it'll be, you know, good for them, but... Oh, wow, it's only the Emergency. Yeah, because we blew up the field spell. That was actually a very important reason to have blown up the field spell, was to stop them from recycling the spell and trap cards, which they can set again. Okay, so it looks like they're going for a Hita here. Hita's trying to steal, and will steal, our Flamberge. Okay, this game might not be like quite as over as I thought, but... battle phase. There goes our Zealantis. I wonder if we're going to need to use the Leerless place to come back here. Although I think we have an original sin in the yard too. Yeah, we just have an original sin in the yard. Okay, but we are going to do Leerless stuff here. Cool. Alright. Oh, and then we can 1-for-1 send the Flamberge, and that'll also proc the Flamberge on top of doing Leerless things. Yeah, again, the main role of the Leerless in this build is to make the F0 on top of your Snake Eye board. If you're interested, Bruno HE5, that other replay does actually show just a pretty typical turn 1 combo line. I ended up pulling this game because it was a bit more back and forth, but definitely both extremely good replays there from Bruno. Alright, now we're making our first Recital Starling. Recital Starling F is going to add the Celestine Wagtail, and we're just going to move straight to battle and smack them with the Recital Starling. So those of you who might be a bit confused on that, let me go ahead and show that Recital Starling does far more than just search Leerless monsters. The last effect states that all battle damage you take from battles involving this Xyzimon monster is also inflicted to your opponent. So, yeah, by running into the Flamberge, we took 3k, but then they also took the 3k, which was enough to end the duel there. We could have also, of course, just done the Leerless line into the F0, or we also could have just, you know, done Snake Eye stuff too, I guess. But no, the finish with the Recital Starling there was very, very nice. So thank you, Bruno, for that submission. Let's take a look at our next game. All right, our next submission comes to us from Just Me. No, that's not. I'm not submitting to my own viewer special. That's the name of the person who is submitting here. No. So Just Me has a replay here versus Rich, where we're going to be watching Monadium take on Kashira. However, this Monadium deck is rocking a tech card that I thought about including in this deck as well as a couple other decks. That's going to be the spell card Synchro Rumble. So this spell card is very, very good with Crimson Dragon because Crimson Dragon searches it, and it'll let you summon out a tuner or a level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro monster from your graveyard. You can't summon it from the extract except by synchroing during the turn to use that effect. So very, very strong extender for a lot of decks that utilize the Crimson Dragon here. Looks like we are opening with a pretty typical Monadium combo line, starting off with the Calarium into, I believe we Calariumed into Rim into Meek there. Is that what happened? We Calariumed into Rim, and we Abscissioned, because we already had Meek in hand. I see we Abscissioned for the counter trap, so. We also already opened the Vyzis and Vyzis Samsara, so yeah, we not only had the starter, but extenders for days here. Looking very, very good with the setup. Alright, throwing down the Reichphobia. I gotta grab the Scareclaw Reich card here, summon that, of course, into Lightheart's Zone, get the draw, or the search and the draw, because we do have those defense mode Meeks in play as well. That call by an excellent draw. We're gonna probably end up setting that with the rest of our board here for some more disruption. Seeking for our Baron de Fleur, of course. Gonna start off with that, make sure we have the Omni up for the rest of our combo line, before pivoting over into everyone's favorite, the Cross Sheep. Now by banishing the Vyzis and the Rimheart, we can go ahead and bring out the Vicious Astrolaud. That'll proc the Cross Sheep after bringing back the right card. And with the level 4 Meek, we can sync that with the Astrolaud in order to summon out our Crimson Dragon. And a lot of you who've never played Synchro Rumble probably don't know that Crimson Dragon also searches, by the way. In addition to being a really good enabler for a lot of really powerful Synchro monsters, this card is also a searcher. You just gotta play the card that can search, which is, yet again, Synchro Rumble, as we talked about before. A card that's, again, a pretty good extender, honestly, for a lot of decks that can make the Crimson Dragon. So, I've even seen Super Heavy Samurai playing Synchro Rumble. I've even considered that as well. Yeah, very, very good card. Elf's gonna bring back the Meek. We can pop Meek with the Baron de Fleur. That'll get another copy out at level 4. Now we can sync for level 12 yet again here, making the Brave Musaruro this time. Now Synchro Rumble is going to get activated to bring back the Meek. We can sync Meek, the level 2 Meek rather, with the right card in order to summon Monadium Trisukta. Now Trisukta will bring back yet another Meek from the graveyard. We still have the level 4 one shown on the field, but we're going to sync the level 2 one with the Trisukta. Is this going to be for Samsara? Yes, for Vyzis Samsara. Samsara F will activate here to grab Scareclaw Rival, and we can use that because it's actually not once per turn, believe it or not. And now we're going to sync for 12 yet again. Is this another Crimson Dragon? It is the other Crimson Dragon. Setting 2, and then passing over to our opponent during their draw phase when a Crimson Dragon targets the Brave Musaro, and there it is. There is the Archfiend King Calamity. It's funny because Monodium was often touted as one of the decks that, you know, was going to break Calamity and make it really, really, you know, obscenely too good for the meta. Calamity is definitely a card that needs to go, I think, because of its ability to just lock people out of games. But I don't think that it's like, you know, it's funny because this is something that I'm, like, often guilty of forgetting, that, like, you know, a card doesn't need to necessarily be super duper OP to be warranted banning. If it shows up often enough and it creates unfun or just flat out non-game states, right? I actually talked about this with Brandon, right? The Sanctifier putting not just the gimmick puppet, but lots of different continuous or lingering lock effects. It's not just the puppet. There's more than that. There's a lot more than that, actually. So Sanctifier is a card I've advocated to be banned. I think Calamity should go, even if it's not super problematic. Or, I mean, it is a little problematic, but it's not, like, super overpowered right now, right? Like, yes, decks like Monodium and Super Heavy Samurai and, like, TG can spit out a Calamity pretty easily. But, you know, is that strategy dominating the meta? No. However, I think we're going to have to wait until after Centurion before Calamity gets banned. That's my personal opinion. But let's go ahead and see one last duel for the viewer special here. Okay, our last game for this viewer special comes to us from Stans the Man. We are going to be watching a game here. I believe it is this one. Stan's going to be on Sword Soul Super Heavy Samurai. This is a deck that I've seen around, but I've never actually seen, like, combo out. So I'm very eager to see just how this deck tends to play out. We're going to be going second here, it looks like. We do have the Valor, and honestly, as far as, like, gas goes, it's a pretty good going second hand. Looks like we're going to be up against Salamangreats here. So opponent's going to lead with the Mirror, specialing that before going into the Balinks. Balinks F will, of course, add the field spell to Salamangreat Sanctuary, which I imagine is going to get used at some point here. Spinny is going to pitch. It's been so long since I've played Salamangreat, but it seems like there is a decent shot that Salamangreat might be in our next selection pack. So if that does end up being true, we will definitely, well, we'll see more Salamangreat action here, possibly in the relatively near future. Alright, Sunlight Wolf and Jaguar going off for the Promethean Princess. I haven't played Salamangreat since Promethean Princess has come out, have I? And it looks like that's going to be where we use our Valor. Good option, I think, for sure. Opponent didn't do too much up to this point that was, like, nearly as threatening, and the Valor will definitely keep the Promethean Princess out of the graveyard, which is, of course, very, very good for us, because then it won't be able to pop our stuff. So we can lead by Special Ecclesia and then Motorbike for the Wakaushi. Already going off with both different kind of lines here. Oh, but they have the Max C. They have the Max C, but we also have the Longyon in hand. So are we just going to, like, play through it? I bet we're just going to end up playing through it, right? I see Soul Horns. Soul Horns, of course, often representing the double attack for the OTK there. We're going for a 5 here for Danglong. Oh, I was going to be like, is it Nat Beast? But Wakaushi is actually dark, not earth. So it couldn't have been Nat Beast with Wakaushi. Wakaushi does get to scale itself. And then we're going to add Suwani, Fire of the Yang Zing. That's going to immediately get normal summoned. And then we are going for the Xiao Fang Phantom of the Yang Zing. Danglong is going to get out the Dark One. I don't know the name off the top of my head. Ecclesia is going to go for the Taya there. Taya F going to banish the Danglong and then summon out a token. Now we can sync those two off in order to summon. Is this going to be Chi Xiao? No, it's going to be Bashia. I see. Bashia F, we're going to get to shuffle back the opponent's back row, and then Taya will, of course, put a card in the yard. Opponent's going to flip up the crossout and just call by. Makes sense, just something generic, right? Maybe something they're not interested in drawing, potentially. Or I guess they wanted to call by in case we had it against Promethean Princess, but I can't imagine that matters at this point. Anyway, Bashia gets to bring back Moye. Moye is going to reveal the Longyon. I thought we were going to start with Longyon into Baron and then play under Maxi, but we're going for it. We just absolutely went for it here. And that's where they can see. So the cool thing about this build, by the way, that we didn't necessarily get to see too much in action here, but that Stands the Man did want to point out, which I do think is really neat and makes this deck a high consideration for this format, is that it's very easy with Qi Xiao to actually be able to call the fire attribute. If we read, or not, sorry, not Qi Xiao, Xiao Fang, right? Xiao Fang, while a single summoned card is on the field, your opponent can activate the effects of monsters with the same original attribute as the Yang Xing monster is used for this card's synchro summon. And because we used Sunai, or Suani rather, Fire of the Yang Xing, I'm sure I butchered that pronunciation, and I apologize if I did, which again, I'm sure I did. But because we used a fire monster as a material, that does end up making the Xiao Fang a Floodgate 4 fire effect specifically, which you may or may not have heard. It does end up being one of the more prominent attributes in this meta. So very, very cool stuff. Very, very awesome to see there. And, you know, I say, oh, we didn't see it in action too much, but it's probably a lot of why our opponent just conceded here. So that's pretty cool. Thank you so very much to not only Stands the Man, but everyone who submitted, even if your games weren't featured, as well as everyone who was entering the Plex Leaderboard Challenge. I just really like that we have so many opportunities to get everyone that's in the community involved with, like, the weekly YouTube routine. You know, I obviously, this is true of, like, obviously every single YouTube channel ever, but especially true for you all that, like, I wouldn't be able to, like, do this without you all watching, and most of all supporting, even more than that. So, yeah, just very awesome to be able to just kind of spread that around, I guess, a little bit. I don't know. In any case, that's going to do it for this video. Let's move now to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for support there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.